Diving into literature from a new country can be intimidating, but only if you don't know where to start. For German literature, that's not going to be the case because I am bringing you not one, not two, but a list of 9 authors and their works that will help you get started with reading German literature. If you are in India, reading German literature is even easier thanks to the sponsors of today's video, Goethe-Institut, Mueller Bhavan, New Delhi. Their amazing online library on Lyre gives you access to thousands of German books for free. You can even find translated versions of these books so you can easily read these books in English while consuming the exceptional tales several authors have told in the German language. And if you are in Delhi, you can also visit their physical library to enjoy some physical books. They have over 1,000 books translated into English available at their library, and some of these books are quite rare. Anyway, without further ado, let me tell you about these authors of German literature so you can get started with reading these amazing works. First up, we have Franz Fühmann. If you're searching for a German writer who has focused a lot on children's literature, Franz Fühmann may be the answer. Not only this, he has written stories in a lot of different formats like short stories, screenplays, essays, and of course, children's books. Talking about his books, while there are many, you could look at The Beloved of the Dawn, which is a collection of short stories. It features 4 stories about heroes from Greek mythology. 2 other books that are also a part of the German list include The Jew Car and At the Burning Abyss. But wait, what's the German list? Well, it's a beautifully curated list of books from German literature that have been translated into English and are available to you via Seagull Publishers, a publisher based in Kolkata who specializes in publishing such translations. The list can be viewed on the Goethe-Institut's website. Next, we have Juli Zeh. This author was earlier a judge and then turned into a best-selling German writer who has written several books and won several awards. Some of her famous books include Eagles and Angels, The Method, and Dark Matter. Eagles and Angels is a part love story and part crime thriller that follows a guy who's grieving for his criminal girlfriend and falls into a major conspiracy. From the other 2 books I mentioned, The Method is more of a dystopian fiction that is set in a society where focus on health is kind of intrusive. It's kind of forced by law, and we follow this super smart scientist who thinks her brother is wrongfully convicted of a crime. It definitely seems like a very interesting plot. And lastly, The Dark Matter is about this physics professor who has to kill a man in order to save his kidnapped son, and there's also a detective who's trying to solve the case. There are quite a lot of concepts of physics that make up a part of the plot, so that element makes it even more interesting. Then we have Daniel Kehlmann. He's an author of both German and Austrian nationalities, and his book, which is called Measuring the World in English, is one of the best-selling books in Germany. All of Daniel's books ever since have been translated into English and are available to readers all across the world. Now, you can find a lot of his books on Amazon India. Of course, you have the Measuring the World, which recreates the lives of the world's best-known naturalist in the 18th and 19th century, Alexander von Humboldt, and his relationship with the famous mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss. The title of the book comes from the fact that in the book, these 2 people set out to really measure the world. Next author is a person who immigrated to Germany and is now a German citizen and a very famous name in the German literary scene, Nino Haratischvili. I'll give you 3 books by this author that, in my opinion, you should check out. There's a book she wrote that was long-listed for the International Booker Prize, but let me save it for the end. First, her debut novel called Zuza is set in Bohemian Paris. The story of the book is very interesting. It's about this teenage girl who jumps in front of a train to commit suicide. This happened in 1953. Now, this girl leaves behind some of her writings which speak of the life and struggles of women. These writings were published as a book in the 1970s and triggered some copycat suicides, and due to this, the book was taken out of publication. Cut to 2004, 2 women from different parts of the world decide to find out more about this teenage girl and who she was, what happened to her, and her actual truth. There's also the Soul Twin, which is a love story of 2 people who grow close as their parents have an affair. Last but not the least, there's The Eighth Life, which is probably the most famous book of the author. It's a story set across multiple generations about a Georgian family that has succeeded because of a secret chocolate recipe passed down through generations. There's romance in this, and most of the story revolves around some dramatic events that happen in or around this family. Next up, we have Wolfgang Herrendorf. Wolfgang was a German author whose most successful book is Why We Took the Car. Of course, that's the title of the English version of his book. The book is said to have sold over 2 million copies just in Germany. The book is a young adult novel featuring two boys who go on a road trip in a borrowed car. The book is highly regarded by critics and readers. Next, we have Saša Stanişić, who is a Bosnian German author with multiple award-winning books to his name. His debut novel, which also won him multiple awards, is called How the Soldier Repairs the Gramophone. This is a bittersweet musical novel about a boy growing up in Bosnia-Herzegovina before and during the war. Like I said earlier, this book has won many awards and has been translated into over 31 languages. Another popular book by this author is Where You Come From. This book is about a village where only 13 people remain. It's in a country that no longer exists. It seems to be quite inspired by the author's own life, tracing the author's family's escape during the conflict in Yugoslavia and then building their life back up in Germany. The next author I'm going to introduce you to in this video also happens to be an immigrant. Born in Turkey, Emine Zevgi Uzdemir first moved to Germany to be closer to her brother, who was studying in a different country but would still be way closer to her than in Turkey. Soon, she fell in love with the German language and authors, and then she became an author well known in the German literature scene. The book you should check out by this author is The Bridge of the Golden Horn, which is about a 16-year-old unnamed girl who signs up as a migrant worker in Germany. The story is about her leaving Istanbul and working and living in a women's factory hostel in Germany. It showcases this young woman growing up between Berlin and Istanbul. Next up, we have Clemens Meyer. This author has written several books, short stories, screenplays, and has done even acting roles. For his short stories, you can check out his award-winning book, All the Lights and Other Short Stories. Some very interesting short stories are in this collection. A man who bets all his money on a horse race to pay for an expensive operation for his dog. Old friends talking all night, a young refugee who wants to box her way to the top of the sport, a lot of short stories about people who have lost and also about their hopes. That's what this collection gives you. If you are up for yet another coming of age novel, you should check out While We Were Dreaming or Dark Satellites for even more short stories by Clemens Meyer. This collection features stories about marginal characters from contemporary Germany. And last but not the least, I'll give you the 9th author that makes up this list of exceptional and must-read authors from German literature, Peter Stamm. He's a Swiss author who was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize in 2013. Several of Peter's books are available on Amazon India in English. You have All Days and Night, which tells the story of a woman who is trying to rebuild her life after a terrible accident. Then you have Agnes. It's a chilling and unexpected story about a man who starts writing his love story after being nudged by his lover. But happy stories never work. For a successful book, you need conflict. So, as he reaches the point where the couple is living at present, he's going to make some decisions that may blur the lines between fiction and reality, moving the story to a chilling end. With this, you have 9 authors and way more than 9 books already added to your to-read list. If you're ready to pick up these books, just check the links below in the description, shop and read. If you want to continue exploring German literature further, let me remind you of some amazing resources you can explore. Number 1 is the complete The German list available at Goethe-Institut's website. You could also shower some love on Seagull Books, who are an Indian publisher specializing in publishing translated versions of some amazing books from German literature. All the books from the German list are available on Amazon India through Seagull. Goethe-Institut also has an online resource called From the German Bookshelves available on their website, where you can continue exploring German literature and learn more about the modern day contemporary authors and their great works. And lastly, a lot of these amazing books are available on Goethe-Institut's online library on Lyre and can be downloaded and read for free. Don't forget to check out the description for the links to all these resources I just mentioned. Happy reading!